Hello everyone, my name is Jacinta Adhiambo and this is Treaty Trend on TV show, and today we are here with a cancer survivor. She's going to talk about her health issues and on the show My Health, My Wealth. So till the end of the show, don't touch the dial. Okay, today we are going to basically to look at cancer, and cancer, it's not something that that's not new for us. It's something that imekuwa ikihappen for a very long time, and I'm glad that we have you here, and you are going to talk about cancer and how you survive it. Maybe you tell us your name.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to share about my survivorship. My name is Alice Ware.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Mom, we're going to look about cancer. First of all, how did you realize that you have cancer?
By the time I discovered the lump on my breast, I didn't know it was cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I had high hopes that it could be a benign tumor.
Okay.
And this was in 1998.
1998.
Yes. So I went to see the surgeon.
Uh-huh.
He sent me to Kisumu. By that time I was working in Nadies. He sent me to Kisumu for FNA, and when the results came back, they were negative. They were negative for cancer.
Right.
But all the same, I told the surgeon, I thought if it continued staying there for some time, it would turn out to be cancerous. And I told him, I asked him if he could remove the lump, and then he removed the lump.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the lump was not taken for biopsy. He just removed it and it was left at that.
Yeah.
So also psychologically, I thought that the cancer was gone.
Okay, that was 1998 still.
Yes, 1998.
Okay.
Yes.
So 1998, that's when you discovered that you have cancer?
No. I would say I discovered in 1998, all through, because the FNA results of course came out to be negative.
Okay.
So to me it was not cancer.
All right.
And even to the surgeon who was treating me, it was not cancer. The cancer, the diagnosis was made in 2013.
2013.
But when in 2014, but even in 2014, the diagnosis did not come out directly that it is cancer. Because the signs which I had in my breast after the removal of the lump, it was more like warts around the areola. In fact, I went to see one of our distinguished surgeons in Kitale, and he told me, Alice, this is warts. But all the same, let me just take a biopsy.
Okay.
That is in 2014.
2014 now.
He took a biopsy again, it came out negative. But I was just sharing with my husband. You know, after the biopsy, of course, you have the wound.
Yeah.
And I was telling my husband that I've nursed very many patients with cancer. This smell is typical of cancer. That's exactly what I told my husband. And then from there is when we decided to go to Eldoret. But because of financial issues, and during that time NHIF was not taking care of cancer patients,
Okay.
I went to my sister-in-law in Eldoret, in Kisumu. That is where they did the operation, mastectomy, to remove the breast. And it is in Kisumu where the doctors discovered that it was cancerous.
Okay, that
Yes.
is in
2015.
2015 now.
Yes.
Okay. And what was the feeling at first, now that 2015 that you discover that you have, now you've been diagnosed with cancer?
It is usually, I think it is, I don't think it is even for me alone. For most patients, this is the worst. It is the worst time when you are told that the results have come, and you are positive for cancer.
All right.
It was very devastating. And very, very unfortunately, the surgeon, I think surgeons are also not counselors. They'll just put it at you. Mama, you have got cancer. They'll just tell you like that. It was the most difficult time for me in my life because I fell down on the floor, rolled, and even, I don't know how I reached the corridor, rolled, and the patients were passing through. It was very difficult.
Oh, yes.
But fortunately, I had my sister-in-law. She came and picked me up, and she took me home. But again, reaching to her place again, she had to search for a pastor.
So for the counseling?
Yes, because I was finished. Because as you know, most cases, what you are asking yourself, my child is still in school. My last one was still in college. He was at third year. And I'm like, who will pay for my child's school fees? How am I leaving my child?
Because
Those
you
are the
see
things,
that you're going
you
to
just
die.
think that you're dying the next day.
Okay.
That is how it is with cancer. It's like you think it's a death sentence.
Okay. And what about your family members, relatives, friends? How did they react after they realized that you are now diagnosed with cancer?
Yes, it was also difficult for them. My brother, in fact, I was at my sister-in-law's place, and my brother refused to come. He works in Bondo.
Okay.
And he refused to come to Kisumu.
Because
of he was just feeling I can't face this.
Okay.
My sister-in-law, as I was crying, as she was picking me up from the ground, she was crying with me. So we were all crying. We were all crying. So for her, it was difficult for everybody. And I remember when I stayed there for a month as she was nursing me. And then when they brought me to Kitale, they were the one to break the news to my family. So it's like they just had a meeting, and it is my brother who now broke the news.
Yeah.
And my children really cried. As much as he told them, I don't want anybody to cry. It is not a death sentence. Your mom is not dying, but the children really cried.
They really cried.
So it affected every member of the family.
Okay. And at what stage you were diagnosed with cancer?
Yeah, I was diagnosed at stage 2.
At stage 2.
Yes.
So that is where you discovered now that you have got the cancer. And,
yeah. No. I when I was in Kisumu, the biopsy results just came that you have got cancer. Then when I came here, a very dear friend of mine, she's now dead. God rest her soul in peace.
Amen.
When I was there, when I had cancer in Kisumu, I rang her. And I told her, Judith, I've been diagnosed with cancer and I'm dying. And Judith told me, I don't want you to cry. And if you are in that condition, I don't want to talk to you. So the next day she rang me, she told me, Alice, are you okay now? Can we talk? Then she told me, even if you have been referred to Eldoret, MTRH, I don't want you to go there. Come straight to Kitale and come and see me. So I came here, and Judith gave me the direction.
Okay.
So from there is when I went to MTRH, and she referred me to a Dr. Meli, who is now a cancer specialist.
Okay.
Yes, and Dr. Meli, again, they had to redo for them to diagnose at which stage, because for Kisumu they just told me you have got cancer. But then Dr. Meli is the one who now is like they keep the samples. So he sent me again to Lancet, which did the biopsy. So it is them again now who diagnosed at which stage I was. Yeah.
Okay. Did you experience any stigmatization at that early age of cancer, that stage 2?
Now, stigmatization came, I could maybe divide it in 2 parts.
Okay.
I had self-stigma. Because, you know, when you are undergoing chemotherapy, your body changes completely. Your body changes, you become dark. Your nails are falling off.
Okay.
Your eyebrows, nothing, hair, they are all. So you still have that self-stigma. that you look at me and I'm like, hey,
Nah,
Jacinta.
this is not me.
Jacinta is just looking at me because I'm looking funny, you know.
Yeah.
So there's just stigma, which is even very bad. And then from that one also you have stigma from your
friends.
colleagues. Yeah. And I remember this very well, that when I was diagnosed with cancer, I was holding some position in Cherengani Sub-County Hospital.
Okay.
I was the Sub-County Public Health Nurse. And my boss at that time was fighting for somebody to be put in that position. Because according to him, and you know this was coming from a doctor with all due respect, according to him, this lady has been diagnosed with cancer, she's dying. We should put somebody in her position.
Can imagine the stigma.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so bad.
It was not
So,
easy. And even during this time, sorry to add,
okay.
I think it is the stigma, which makes you even put your family in a very compromising situation.
Yeah.
Because immediately I came from Kisumu, I started telling my husband, where will you bury me? If you carry my body, don't carry it in a pickup, you carry me in a hearse, you know. And by that time you are telling your husband, you know it's like you are also torturing him.
Okay.
So that stigma, it is all around.
It's all around.
Yeah.
And the friends, what, they keep distance from you?
Yes,
and
yes. About friends, there are a few friends who stood by me, and I love them to bits even up to this time.
Wow.
There are about 2-3 friends. I love them. They stood with me, they encouraged me, and there's a time when I was undergoing chemotherapy and I was so dehydrated. You know, with chemotherapy, unachukua stool unakaa nayo kwa mlango ya choo. Mharo inapita tu. When you are under, it is very bad.
that is how bad it is.
You still sit with your stool. If you can't sit on the toilet seat itself the whole night, then you are sitting with your stool near the toilet because it is vomiting, diarrhea. Vomiting, diarrhea.
Wow.
So it's like they out of nowhere, it's like they just imagined, oh,
How can I
let
stay
us go and
that
see
bad?
Alice. Let us go and see Alice. They came when I was properly dehydrated. And I don't know what made, because I had not talked to them. I don't know what, they came with IV fluids, they came with the IV set, and they just fixed the first bottle and it just, by the time they gave me the third bottle, I was very okay. These are friends who I've learned to value, and they are very few. I can assure you that by the time you are diagnosed with cancer, very few people stand with you.
Okay. And can you now tell us your life story, your health story, since when you were a child, now you come to realize that you've got cancer, and now you're a cancer survivor all through your health.
I don't know what you specifically want in my health, but I could tell you me I'd been a healthy person all through.
Since.
But what I was hearing from my parents is that my grandmother died of cancer of the esophagus.
Okay.
And I have a cousin also who just died here with the cancer of the stomach. So I don't know, I really can't tell you whether it is genetic. I really can't tell you whether it is genetic. But there is that history. Okay. But again, I was around 1993. I was diagnosed with blood pressure.
With blood pressure.
So this is a problem I'd learned to live with. Oh. So cancer just came in on top. So I'm having both conditions. Okay. I went to Nairobi for radiotherapy in Pisha. That's where my doctor had recommended. And that's where I was told that I was, after finishing the radiotherapy, he now told me that I was cancer free. Okay. This was in 2016. 2016. February.
Now 3 years down the line.
Yeah.
Okay. So after that 2016, how do you feel now that you are now cancer free?
I was, of course I was happy knowing that maybe some years have been added to my life. But I also put it upon myself to live positively, because being a retired nurse, I know is the fact that we are told that you are cancer free, you are not really cancer free. It can recur anytime. Okay. So this is something which is always at the back of your mind. Okay, it can recur. It can recur. So it is something which is always at the back of your mind. But now it's like you after refusing, denial and all, you now start bargaining with God. If you had me 5 years just to see my son through college, God, I'll be very grateful. I think that's what happens in chronic condition, when you have these chronic conditions. All right. And I think really God is
God
He
is
stands
faithful.
with you.
Okay.
And again, spirituality is very, very important. If you go to church, your
Get
church
inspired.
colleagues, they also
Okay.
they pray with you and they stand with you.
Okay, what can you tell other cancer patients out there who have lost hope and say, sasa I'm going to die the next minute, I don't know how I'm going to live in the next 5 years to come? How can you tell, especially young cancer patients?
Jacinta, what I know with this disease is that your attitude plays the key role.
Okay.
Because I can assure you there are many people whom have worked with this journey and they have gone. The first first friend, the first person we were diagnosed with, I mean a fellow nurse again at that time. I was diagnosed when I was still in service. And hii kitu imetushika, you know, that type of attitude imetushika, sisi ni kukufa tu. Si ni cancer, sisi ni kuenda tu. I think if you have that attitude, utaenda tu vile unatamka kwa mdomo, utaenda tu. But if you purpose to live,
you will live.
If you purpose to live, you will live. And live your life as if, of course you are going for your checkups, you are going for your investigations, just the way the doctor is saying, but live your life as if you are not sick. At the back of your mind, you know that you are sick. But do your things the way you are supposed to. Let me tell you, when I came from Kisumu, when I was telling my husband, na musinibebe kwa pick up, muniweke kwa house nini. When I was telling him, when I was telling him all those things, I just told myself, I know I'm dying. And nikajiambia, of course my uniforms were also not fitting at that time. Hata uniform sishoni ya nini na naenda kukufa, you know. But later I told myself, I'm dying going where? Why should I leave my last board that hakuna mali naenda? And I went and fitted clothes kabisa. I changed my attitude. Nikaenda nikapima uniform na nikapima manguo. Hata hii is one of them. Nikapima manguo nikasema I'm going to leave. And that positive attitude has kept me going. Though sometimes when you hear a very dear friend has gone, like the one I was talking about, you become devastated. And I remember I was even calling the Esther Jarenga and I told her I'm finished. I told her, if Judy has gone, then I'm finished. Nasikia tu kama nimeshiwa na nguvu. So sometimes you pretend to be strong, but those incidences come. But I still continue moving, and I still continue being very, very positive.
Okay, so people should not take this as a death sentence.
It's not a death sentence. It's not a death, because my son, whom I'm talking about now, who was a third year, he has finished and is now doing his internship at Mama Lucy. Sasa si nimeishi ya.
You are still living, you are still strong.
Nimeishi.
Okay, so your advice, maybe your last thing.
Maybe the last thing maybe I would want to talk about here is that if people can enroll for NHIF, all of us, if we could enroll for NHIF, then it will help us. Okay. Because at the time I was sick, NHIF was not taking care of cancer patients. By that time, I think they didn't have a policy document on that. And I had to use my salary. And it was twice a month. So I could go to Eldoret. During one session, it was 7,000, which was still cheap. Because they were subsidized by AMPATH. Okay. You get it? But by the time we are through with the blood works work, it was costing 10,000. So if people could enroll with NHIF, I think it could be cheaper for them. Okay. In fact, even with my retirement, I'm thinking I was thinking to go back and enroll with the NHIF. As I went for the 6 sessions, there was a time I went for the 8th session of the chemotherapy, and they asked us for 24,000. We didn't have that money. We carried our usual 10K. We didn't have that money, but we had to run up and down, up and down. The radio, the MP at that time was charging 10,000 per session. So every day I go there to go with 10,000. So it really took a toll on our finances. So, and then another advice is that screening. Let us encourage our clients to be going for screening. And you know, and don't think don't think that ni yule ndiye ataweza kushikwa, yule ndiye ataweza kushikwa, mimi siwezi kushikwa. So let us, if you have an opportunity, just go for the screening. Self breast examination for the women is very, very important. Any uncomfortable situation you feel like like bleeding which is out of ordinary from a woman, please get concerned and go and remove. We also need to have a community support. That family support is very, very important. I got a lot of support even from my children. My son was the driver who used to take to me to the hospital every day. And whenever I could reach Chandaria, I'd be going to depression because I know exactly the side effects I'm going to suffer. So there was another, my daughter was the runner nurse. Mimi nikifika huko najikunja with a lot of depression. So she's the one to take me to the lab, blood works, meaning she was to run for all those things. So we need a lot of family support, community support. I'm saying community support because there was a time somebody's talking negatively about me and a very close neighbor, ya kwamba na huyu ata survive. Umesikia ameshikwa na ugonjwa mkubwa.
And the way cancer is severe.
Yes, ati ameshikwa na ugonjwa mkubwa. Na huyu ata survive kweli. So the community should also support and understand us. And don't imagine that cancer itapata yule tu. Even you, it can get you.
Okay.
So in conclusion, I'm talking about self-examination,
Right.
screening, family support, community support. Very important. It made me reach where I am now.
Okay. So guys, that is what we had for today with a cancer survivor here, Alice Were, and you've heard her story. It's a very interesting story, very encouraging. So people outside there, cancer see death certificate. It's not a death sentence, so you cannot get cancer tunaenda kukufa the next minute. So go get screened, follow all the health measures, issues, and everything is going to be all right. Have been your host, Jacinta Adhiambo. Till next time, bye-bye.